Hi, folks. This is Dr. Kat Shrier of WaterCitizen.com, and I'm here at the Country Inn in Berkeley Springs. We are getting ready to bring you live for the next 2 days all the complete coverage of the Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting for their 25th anniversary year. And I am here with our WaterMaster, Arthur von Wiesenberger, and we are getting ready for the preliminary competition. It's a fabulous weekend. Arthur, what are we going to see this weekend?
Well, thank you, Dr. Kat. It's great to be on Water Citizen, by the way. Really appreciate it. Today, we are going to do our preliminary judging, and that's the first step in this weekend of events. And what we do in the preliminary judging is we take the 100-odd waters that have been entered into Berkeley Springs this year, and we separate it down to about half. It's hard to taste water over a long period of time. Yeah. Because your palate will get fatigued after a while. So we have a certain group of preliminary judges who will taste 50% of the waters, and it'll be divided into two flights. And then after they select their favorites, those favorites will then go to the final judges on Saturday night.
Wow. Palate fatigue. That sounds like a...
Well, you know, when you taste water, or when you taste anything, yeah, there's a lot of concentration involved. And as you're discerning the nuances of water, your taste buds are working hard, and at some point, usually about 20 or 30 waters, you start to get fatigued. Yeah. You're really actually tired. Yeah. And
the spoonful of sherbet or anything?
Not water, as a way to rehydrate your mouth, because as you're drinking water, you're actually taking saliva off of your tongue. And you'll start to get a sense of dryness, which is ironic when you're drinking water. But because you don't have saliva, which has more salinity in it, your mouth becomes dry. And so we have water crackers, which are very simple. They have no flavor to them other than a bit of sodium. And by chewing those, that brings the saliva back into your mouth.
Well, as you know, for the folks who are joining us at the exclusive coverage by Water Citizen of the water tasting, we have an entire array of programs and interactive activities set up, including instructions coming up later this weekend with you for our viewers at home to learn how to do their own water tasting, to learn to put together your own local water party while you're watching the show, and get a sense of waters that you might be able to find in your own supermarket, or have your friends from neighboring towns bring their water in, and see if you can start tasting some of the differences.
That's true, because people sometimes are going down supermarket shelves and they see this just myriad of brands of water, and it's hard to know, well, you know, what's different. Each one has a different brand name. Some come from springs, some come from municipalities. Unless you read the label and you're really a vigilant label reader, you might not know what you're buying, and the price range is vast. You can go from, you know, for a half-liter bottle, 25 cents, all the way up to a couple dollars. So are you getting your value for money?
Yeah. Well, I think it'll give us a lot to ponder, and we will be doing a number of interviews throughout the weekend and talking with people more about water and understanding what it is that you're tasting, where does it come from, how does that mix with food and different...
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's almost, think of it as wine, but yeah, you can drive home afterwards.
Well, and even personal health considerations. That different bodies are different, and some people are more sensitive to certain minerals, and you know, and that's something to think about in their water as well.
Right, and you know, there's a big difference between the American approach to bottled water and the European approach to bottled water. In Europe, they drink water because of what's in the water. They want to have certain minerals like magnesium and calcium and sodium and potassium, because they know those minerals in the right combination have health effects, as you were talking about. They've been used for centuries at the spas. Whereas in America, we're a little bit hazy on what we want in our water. We know what we don't want.
We don't want it hazy.
We don't want chlorine, right, for the most part. We don't want, you know, heavy metals. We don't want toxins. Right. But we're a little more hazy on what we do want. And I think that's a big difference between the American and the European mentality. We drink water for what's not in it. They drink water for what's in it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we have waters from all over the globe, and in working with the folks here at our partners at Travel Berkeley Springs, producers of the event, we came up with a map of every single water that has been entered over the last 25 years. almost 700 countries have submitted entries. This year we're having what, over 100 entries.
Over 100 entries.
Over 100 entries.
In different categories.
Yeah.
I mean, we have municipal water.
Right.
We have bottled spring water, which is
Right.
non-carbonated. We have carbonated mineral water, which is bubbles. We've got purified water, which has been processed water. And then we also have what we call the People's Choice Award, which is packaging. Sometimes packaging has a big impact on a bottled water. I mean, you look at water bottles, and some are very attractive, some are sexy, but they're all different. And so we're going to let the public decide which is the best package.
And that is also something we worked out with Travel Berkeley and WaterCitizen.com. We have done a special photo session yesterday, took all of the entrants to the packaging competition and did a photo shoot one at a time so that you, the viewers at home, can at least, you won't be able to pick it up and, you know, feel the engraving. I mean, some of these are very elaborate objects, and how does it feel in your hand? Makes a difference.
The functionality, because sometimes, you know, if you get a bottle that's a little too hard to get your whole hand around, and then you try and put it, it feels awkward. You have the right size for my little.
Well, it's like, you know, with a lot of the alcohol bottles, the vodka bottles, and all sorts of fancy shapes and engraving and everything. Well, the same has been done in water. Is that something that's recent, or has that
it goes of the water industry, basically? I mean, when you think about some of these, I mean, the early ones like Perrier, for example, that bell-shaped bottle that was created, and that was actually created by Sir John Harmsworth, who was an Englishman who had been injured and had an illness, and in order for him to get back into shape, he was using Indian clubs. Remember the old days of Indian clubs? I mean, back in the 1800s, they were using that for exercise. He thought that was a great shape, and that's why he came up with the Perrier shape, which was sort of a bulb at the bottom that came up to the top like that. And that was where the Perrier bottle came from. And then ultimately that became iconic as far as an image of bottled water in this country.
Well, and all of those branding considerations, design considerations are so important. We have collected all of the images on a story map, so you'll be able to read a little bit about each one, the waterway, where it's from, the Photoshop, not Photoshop. We have a photo shoot of the photos, as well as map of where in Museum Wales, as well as various places.
Asia as well.
The U.S., Asia.
I think most of the countries are covered in one way or the other.
Well, and there's only about a dozen that are in the packaging competition. That is a very select group that has.
Well, you think about packaging, and most, again, back in that supermarket aisle, you look down the shelves, and a lot of it looks the same because they're using that standard ribbed bottle. That's called a PET, high-grade plastic bottle, and it's generic for the most part. And everyone seems to use that because it's the most cost-effective, but it doesn't stand out. So the people who go the extra mile and either use glass or they use plastic that's in a specially created type of bottle. They've had to spend a lot more money. They've got to create molds, and they've got to order a number of bottles in order to fulfill the need. It's a commitment.
Now, you actually work with some very high-end, with the restaurant industry, and you know, there was that old bit that Penn and Teller did of the water sommelier, and it was just kind of, you know, they would go out back and they'd take it out of the garden hose and fill up these bottles and make up these stories about these waters. But there are restaurants that serve a wine list of waters. Now,
so first, let me address the Penn and Teller story, because I watched that, and obviously anybody who is dedicated to water might have been a little irked by it. I think these guys are very talented and very funny. But water, because honestly, what I saw as I watched that unfold, and if you watched it, what was happening was they were going and filling up water into different bottles out of a hose in the back of the kitchen, and then bringing it out with a water sommelier, which, by the way, there really is a water sommeliers out there, but they were pretending to be one, and they would tell a long story about this water and pour it, and then people would appear to be saying, oh, this really is spectacular, or this really is different, and all the time it was the same tap water. The problem is that usually when you have two people in a restaurant having dinner and someone is coming up trying to impress them with something, they tend to not want to be engaged in that too much. And certainly they don't want to start having confrontation by saying, no, this isn't good water. They don't want to confront an expert. So in a way, they used a psychological game to get across the gag, which was this water. But when you taste waters in a setting, which maybe we know how to do it, if you observe them carefully, you will see the differences, and they're very vast. There's a big difference between processed water, spring water, mineral water, geothermal water, and when you taste them next to each other, you go, wow, there really is a difference, and these differences are significant. Now, sorry, your other question was in regard to water tasting, how we're going to do it.
Yeah, and we are going to be doing a segment with Arthur a little later. We're actually going to set up some glasses and some bottles and really walk through how to do your own water tasting, because this online opportunity is an opportunity for you, our online viewers, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the recording later, to get a better understanding of what we're going to see here. Unfortunately, not everybody can come appreciate have the opportunity to come to beautiful Berkeley Springs. Let's see if we can get out the window. If you can see that, the inn is actually right next to the Berkeley Springs spa, the state park, and the actual. That is actually where George Washington would come up and do his spa treatments. And
they even have bathtubs there with the names. I guess they have George Washington's bathtub. I'm not sure if it's the actual one he was in, or Thomas Jefferson's bathing area, but all these found their way to Berkeley Springs to get immersed in the nice
and the healing properties. But so we are going to be covering. There's going to be a lot going on up here, and so we're going to be having the video of all the speakers, as well as a series of interviews. We're going to be putting these up here on the site that you're watching on throughout the weekend, as well as have access to this after the weekend is over. And one of those is going to be an actual how to do your own water tasting. And we'll provide access to that as well, so that as you're watching at home, you'll be able to go ahead and invite your friends in. If you are working with any or somehow cheering on any of the folks who are here in the competitions, please do let us know in the Facebook comments below. Let us know who you are, what you're watching, what you want to see, and we'll do our best to cover it.
And I've got a question for you, Don.
Yes, please.
I mean, these are so cool, these What Are Our Sexy Buttons. How can folks at home get hold of one of these?
Well, we do, we have printed out. I got a small bag of them here.
Like Santa Claus here.
Yes, we have.
I like the blue one with the if you can see it, it's got pink letters for sexy.
Here we go. we got the white one. Right there.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's funny that people will go through a very elaborate process of deciding which one they want.
I'm sure.
It's
to go with what you're wearing, right?
The pink one is the one that you see on our logo. And well, no, actually, for a lot of folks, if they are, say, in a black suit or something, a dark suit, they might put that on a.
When you have a formal event, that's the one to wear, right?
And then blue, nice traditional blue and white water.
So how do we get one?
So to get one, we do have them available. We have a little store at watercitizennews.com. Watercitizen.com will take you straight to watercitizennews.com, which is sort of a Huffington Post on water. A lot of short interactive stories on everything from water and business policy, technology, sports, art, culture, personal profiles, lots of video, lots of images, lots of graphics and all sorts of stuff. Keep it fun, short, and approachable and sexy.
Right.
And so there's a place called Store on there, and that's where you can order them. We are also starting to hear from groups that want to do special orders of for a particular event that we would co-brand with them. So so we have those. We brought up a bunch here for the folks who are able to be here. Right. We also have some opportunities for folks if they want to be seen on the page. We have an opportunity for some of the charter sponsors of this new program that we're providing to get all the educational as well as entertainment and watertainment and and just the cool stuff.
You've
that's
got some
going
new
on.
words that we never heard before.
Watertainment?
Yeah.
Yes, we have the trademark on
That's
that.
a good one.
It is a good one.
I like
Thank
that.
you. Yes.
I'm gonna have to write a new dictionary of terms from you.
Oh, we'll make that up. Well, thank you so much. Oh gosh, I lost track of time. We were having so much fun. This happens. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the website, and folks will know to join us for live segments throughout the weekend. We are going to be here, definitely on the air, 12:30 to 5:30 Friday, and 12:30 to 10:30 on. 9:30 on. Saturday for all of the tastings, all of the exhibits, all of the announcements of the awards, the water rush at the end,
Right.
and as well as interviews periodically throughout the day.
You've got some great people coming here this weekend, so
yes,
it's going to be very exciting.
Who should we?
I mean, you've got some real leaders in the water world. One guy who I think everybody should have a chance to interact with if they can is Henry R. Heidel III. We all call him Bob. And Bob is a super guy. He's probably built more water bottling plants than anyone in the world. He's put more holes into the ground and found water. He's a water dowser. He can find water where people think there's no water that exists. Mm-hmm. So he's got a lot of different things. And he's a very bright guy who's going to be up here speaking about the importance of water and water going into the future and the population demands on water. We're also going to have a terrific guy named Jack West, who is getting the Lifetime Achievement Award for 2015 here at Berkeley Springs. He's been so involved with water for so many years. He started a company called Puro Water Company, which ultimately got sold to Vivendi, and he brought it public, which was a great success in the water field. Very knowledgeable, and he is now the chairman of the Drinking Water Foundation, which is very much involved with water education, water information.
Yeah, he was on Emerald Planet with us last weekend.
Yes, with you and Dr. Sam, and that was a great show, and I think it just gives you a little drop of what he's capable of talking about. He's got a lot of information.
Well, we've got Angie Rosser who's going to be talking about Charleston.
Right, another disaster, sadly, in Charleston with the oil spill, and this happened last year with the Dow chemical spill. And so the question is, how safe are our waters where we're getting our municipal water, and I think it'll be very important to hear about.
Well, municipal water also the supplies for bottled water. I mean, so just for people to make that connection, the water that they drink, where does it come from? Mm-hmm. How is it affected by, is it affected? There was a lot of questions I understand last year when Charleston happened, right before the water tasting, and people saying, calling up and saying, is it safe to drink the water? Can you come to Berkeley Springs? And it was an opportunity to really give a little bit of a geography lesson. Mm-hmm. And for folks to understand, you need to know what watershed you're in. You need to know what watershed your drinking water comes from, which may not be the same thing. You need to know, is it from under the ground, like springs here, where maybe a little more protected from surface contamination, a spill and things like that, or does it come from the river? What are the treatment processes? How is that impacted? If there's an earthquake or a hurricane or something and it knocks out your treatment plant, the water supply is one thing, but how it's treated, how it's distributed, and then how it gets into your house. And I actually, right before I came up here, I was about to leave for the taxi for the train to come here, and I see some like a reflection under the door of the laundry room, and I open the door and there's water spurting out of the wall.
Pipes to burst, huh?
We have had some very cold weather in Washington, D.C., and so now I have my own water supply problem at the house. And in fact, the plumber should be there at 10 o'clock this morning. Hopefully it's fixed by now. Right. But yeah, I mean, all of these are things that go into that understanding. It's not about getting scared or getting, building panic or getting angry about, oh my God, what's happening to our water? We need to protect our water. It's just to know, where does your water come from? If something impacts the source of your water, where do you go?
Right. What steps you can take to protect yourself and your family.
Exactly.
And education is what it's all about, and that's what Berkeley Springs is about. And I'm so glad that you have this vehicle to get the information out to the world, basically.
I'm happy to be here.
All right.
So be sure to join us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Arthur.
Great to be here, and great that you're here. We'll see you a little later.
Keep covered you throughout the weekend.